there is no reason for me, no reason at all for me to spurn you at fucking all. Keita.
Or get off my phone and let's stop this. I don't give a fuck.
Wire today. Or we have no deal.
Solve this by
I waited up until midnight last night. I'm tired. My back hurts. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I need to work. But I'm still fucking around with your bitch ass. Now, I said we were friends, but we ain't that goddamn close until we make a motherfucking deal. So make it, nigga, and make the right one.
Hello everyone, I am Alexis. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I dig into viral content and discuss what I believe we can all learn from them. Today I wanted to talk about the professional drama between Keita Rose and Ace Metaphor, or should I say, Keita Rose and Ace Metaphor were co-hosts on tonight's conversation. So this is one of those groups that came out of nowhere and started acting like experienced life gurus who people turn to for advice. Keita Rose recently walked away from tonight's conversation and decided to open up about her experience while working with the crew. The main co-host she had an issue with was Ace Metaphor, or as she calls him, Mojo! That cracks me up so much. She accused him of all sorts of abuse.
Let me tell you why I have a problem with what Keita Rose is doing.
Hello, no hate to this creator. Just let me tell you why I don't care. I am calling out financial abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. I am calling out abuse, and that's uncomfortable. But I wanted to show victims, which I do not identify as. I do not identify as a victim. I want to show victims exactly what they can expect when they confront their abuser. Because not everybody has a video camera out and can prove that someone did something to them. Not everything is as cut and dry or black and white as just go to court, because I don't think you all quite understand what narcissism truly is. Everybody has had a narcissist. My boss was narcissistic. My daddy was narcissistic. You guys don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Because if you did, you would understand exactly what I'm going through, exactly why I sounded that way on that recording, and what he was doing, and how he was gaslighting and manipulating me. And I will admit, after 3 days of speaking to him for, 5, 6, 7 hours a day of him calling and calling and calling, I just about had enough.
I looked at his website just to see what are his credentials, and this man literally has on his website, and I quote, "Former bad guy turned good, changed my life through meditation, the biggest self-love advocate on the net." Right off the jump, he doesn't seem to have any real educational or even professional background to be giving life or dating advice to anybody. And I don't know if any certificate is required to give relationship or life advice. Obviously, I know people go to school and become psychologists. Like, they're literally doctors whose job is to give advice. But it seems like no one on that show has what is needed to be qualified, like a certified guru. Nobody, like in that circle, nobody in that group, right? They were just, winging it, I guess. It was just a group of regular people giving other regular people advice, which is crazy. When it comes to Keita, I believe she mentioned that she has a bachelor's degree in media, but a degree in any form of media do not qualify her to be a guru and give dating advice. So I just wanted to put that out there. At least she has some type of degree. I don't even think Ace Metaphor and all the other group members had anything going on. But anyways, let's move on. I call them entertainers. These are entertainers. We cannot take advice from people who are primarily here to entertain us. Entertainers can teach us a lot, but we should not let them use their platforms to shape our thoughts. But I low-key understand why people turn to these kind of gurus for advice. I think to a certain extent, they are relatable. They are not corporate. They present like professionals, but they also look like the homie down the block. And I think people are attracted to that. They make people feel comfortable. But most people do not understand self-betterment is not supposed to be comfortable. So if you want real change, a lot of these internet gurus should be turned off. Now, let me get into a few things I believe we should all learn from this situation. First and foremost, if you are not messy, you do not belong in any kind of workspace. Unfortunately, a lot of us have to go to work. Toxicity in the workplace is not normal, but we cannot escape it somehow. Reasons behind toxic work culture is first and foremost competition. Managers wanting to keep your employees in your place. Co-workers wanting to one up each other and climb the company ladder. Something that I think a lot of people do not speak of when it comes to a toxic work culture is how people at the top, people with influence, use toxicity as a form of distraction for the employees to stay at a lower level. A toxic workplace can have employees question your worth, which makes it hard for them to go out there and look for better opportunities. A toxic workplace lower employee standards. When you are used to the worst treatment, the bare minimum starts to feel like the best you could ever have or you could ever do. So like a lot of the higher ups and coworkers make the working environment toxic, and when you start getting sick and tired and when they notice it, they fix it just a little bit, which makes it seem like things might actually change for the better, but in reality, the working environment should have never been toxic to begin with. A lot of people with influence also maintain toxicity in between your coworkers, or in this case, co hosts, to break boundaries, which then facilitate intimate relationships. Someone like an ace metaphor, to me, I believe he purposefully put his co hosts in uncomfortable situations to see how they would react. In some cases, coworkers fall for the bait and they start being a little too relaxed. Like Kiddo Rose's case, in my opinion, I think Ace gradually made her accustomed to a toxic workplace just to get away with not paying her, and she let it slide for a long time because she was used to the abuse. To get to that point, the person with the influence create a bond while normalizing abuse in the process. So it starts to feel like the relationship, professional or whatever other kind of relationship, it applies to many things. It starts to feel like the relationship and the bond is supposed to be toxic. Like the abuse is actually a normal thing to go through while being in said relationship, if you see what I mean. This is how a lot of abusers get away with abuse. It works in many cases, especially in industries like the entertainment industry, which leads me to my next point. Entertainment is one of the messiest businesses I've ever heard of. And I am sure a lot of y'all who stay informed about pop culture already know this. The entertainment industry has many branches, which include some 9 to 5 workers. The entertainers themselves are not 9 to 5. And when your paycheck comes from how many tickets you sell, how many streams, how many views you get, all those numbers get tricky. There's a lot of scamming in the entertainment industry, y'all. And I think the entertainment industry makes it very easy for evil people to get in. And if you are not the type to stand up for yourself, to shake things up, don't even bother getting in there. That's just how I think, my humble opinion. This is a tricky industry because I really think some of the best souls can turn evil as a reaction to the environment. I am not talking about Kita specifically because I do not see her as a bad person, but I am pretty sure if Ace wasn't controlling and abusing her the way he did, she wouldn't result to exposing the whole crew. It started with Ace. The entertainment industry is not for sane people. You gotta have a certain level of crazy. You gotta be able to lie. You gotta be able to manipulate. You gotta be able to trick the people. You have to be able to create your own reality and make sense of it, without considering anybody else. I do not like throwing the word narcissist around because I would like to leave it to the professionals, but I really do believe to be a successful entertainer and to make it big in the entertainment industry, you gotta have some level of narcissism in you to survive an industry like that. And next, I just want to say it should be harder for men to make money off women. Women should really stop falling for everything men sell us. By now, I would like to think that women know that, especially black women, as I believe that is who Ace metaphor and tonight's conversation was meant to cater to. I mean, since before slavery, women were the ones being bought and sold to begin with. Then there was the pimping business that happened after slavery, right? Again, men making money off of us. Then There are a multitude of, different black male artists who sing, who rap, or who just have different kind of businesses. And what they do is they make money from the women, and then when they finally get the profits, they take all that wealth and reinvest it in, all other non-black communities. They don't even like they just make money off of the women and then discard us right after. Our community is full of people like Derek Jacksons and Ace Metaphors, just to like name a couple, but there's way more. Men sell you a fantasy in exchange for your time, energy, money. The ladies are still buying what they sell. Derek Jackson hasn't taken any hits, y'all. He hasn't. Matter of fact, he's still out here making money off his lies. Something tells me Ace Metaphor won't take any hit either. These men are still out here with a huge fan base, which include a variety of women, from old to young, from rich to lower class, all body types, all skin tone. I mean, Jesus, we can't even claim that they're making money off of young women who don't know any better. And we cannot even claim that they're making money off of unattractive women with low self-esteem, for example. Because of they just attract any kind of women, to be honest, except for the women who are healed, obviously. But being healed doesn't have a look. These men attract all kind of women to their content. And to be honest, I can get on here and run my mouth and say that we as women are enablers of these scammers, and we do this at our own detriment, and we need to stop. But to be honest, when it comes to some of y'all, it will go through one ear and literally leave through the other ear. Like, a lot of y'all wouldn't listen anyways. Next, I don't know who needs to hear this, but serious influencers do not sell sex appeal. Serious influencers will never use sex appeal to sell their products or share their message. When someone really wants to help, they will invest in your look, your image, your messaging, your media presence, production, sound. They would invest in marketing. They will never put too much effort to appear overly sexy. Topless photos, bikini photos, it's a no-no. People who really have a goal to create a positive change with your message understand that sex appeal, especially if it's done in excess, can take attention from what they're trying to achieve. Leading with sex appeal can also attract the wrong crowd. People who are really looking for guidance and are serious about growth are not taking advice from a sex symbol. Obviously, sex appeal is for entertainment purposes only. Growth is not fun. It is not entertaining. Look at Shira 7, for example. Regardless of how y'all claim that she's pushing women to be, out here like that, to be loose, she doesn't lead with sex appeal. That's clearly not what she's selling. Shira looks very classy. She doesn't sell sex appeal. She sells wisdom, clearly, regardless of what you think of her. So all of these gurus we've seen recently who lead with sexuality should be canceled. They are frauds and they are not to be taken seriously. Next, I am glad that Kita talked about the abuse that Ace Metaphor allegedly endured at the hands of his mentor when he was young.
Another valid point would be, well, if you experienced all that, why did you stay for so long? I think for the first 2 years, I was focused on getting money and learning whatever I could learn and just experiencing what it is to be on tour. It wasn't until year 2 to where he started to tell me his abuse stories. If you know me, you know I don't play about child abuse. I don't play about protecting children, because children cannot fight back. They're the most vulnerable being on this earth. So around 2 years in, Mojo Jojo started lying about what he'd invest in, how much merch I needed, different things like that. So I'm slowly finding out that he's not a reliable business partner, is what I'm thinking. So I don't believe any of the damages that have been done were malicious at that time. Now they were absolutely malicious. So Mojo Jojo would say that from a young age, his mom was on drugs. His dad went to jail. When his mom got clean, she decided to turn her life over to God, and she joined the Jehovah's Witnesses. So he is a Jehovah's Witness. Now, since Mojo Jojo's father was in jail, he attached himself to a mentor that attended the same church. Allegedly, this mentor would take him on trips, buy him nice clothes, nice shoes, in exchange for sex. I only say in exchange for sex because the stories would start off with, when I was young, I was groomed, I was SA'd. right? So I felt very bad. I had a lot of sympathy. And then towards the end, I understand why women accept certain types of abuse, especially if they benefit, if they get cars and clothes and houses and stuff like that, because my mentor did the same thing. And, I got all these things. It was almost as if he knew it was abuse, but didn't see it like it was abuse because he benefited, which is what I think a lot of us do. I think he uses his abuse as a way to gain sympathy so people can justify his actions, because that's exactly what I did. A lot of the times when he was acting an ass, I justified it with, well, he wasn't raised off love. He was raised off survival. He doesn't trust anybody. He's paranoid. Different things like that stem from abuse. And a lot of people told me they didn't give a shit. That didn't give him a right. That didn't give him the right to behave that way just because something like that happened to him. So I never really gave much thought about the child abuse situation. He casually talked about it. It was like something he talked about like on a Tuesday. Just, I've had sex with men and that men have SA'd me, and these are the things he would just say during brunch. So he's been very open about the whole thing, except a couple shows ago, right? So not my last show, but maybe a couple shows ago, we were all in the green room, and he was, of course, talking about his abuse, like he always does, randomly and casually to everyone. I told him to stop doing that. He won't. And he ended the conversation with, my mentor is still doing the same thing to boys to this day. And of course, rightfully so, everyone who heard all the abuse that he talked about is taken aback, because you're saying that this could potentially still be happening to this day. So when asked, well, why don't you step up? Why don't you say anything? Why don't you do anything? He shut down. I genuinely believe that he knows that other people feel like it's wrong, but as long as the boys are getting taken care of, well, is it really abuse? I think it's important to note that a lot of us don't know who the people we work with are really and what they do behind closed doors. We just work with them. So after he says that, a cast member asks, well, what are you going to do to save the little boys? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to step up publicly? Are you going to, what have you done to save these children? And Jojo just shut down. He didn't say anything. So I'm not going to hold you. I didn't really take his claim serious, because I think he's a liar, and I think everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. Until I started this series and, people started coming out. Turns out he's been telling people the same story for 10 plus years. Now that I know all the mentor stories weren't lies, we are doing everything in our power to figure out who this guy is. What can we do? Is this still happening? How can we stop this? So no worries there. But I genuinely believe he does not see an actual problem with any of this.
A lot of other influencers criticize her for speaking about the abuse, but she was only repeating what he told the entire crew, not even privately, but publicly and casually, like she says. That on its own could count as a violation, because when you open up about sex abuse, especially when a minor is involved, you are now making this the other person's problem. Not everyone turns a blind eye when it comes to sexual abuse. This is not a topic that you can just get over. If someone told me they were touched as a child by someone who still has access to children, I wouldn't be able to go about living my life without speaking out. And if I have a platform, I will definitely use my platform to say something. As a result of her speaking out, people started coming out and opening up about who they believe Ace's former mentor could be. And to me, that could lead to many children being saved. Another thing that I can't stand about people who criticize her for speaking out, not just about the abuse, but her speaking out in general, was that people were showing that they didn't care to know the cast members of tonight's conversation for real, for real. Like, how do you just show up to listen to a bunch of people you don't care to know? I think it should be a requirement to look into people's personal lives in order to take advice from them. But a lot of people want to keep living in Fantasyland, where your faith influencers only move in ways that they like, even if it's all a facade. To me, this was the perfect occasion for your fans to see them for who they really are, raw, uncut, with all your flaws. I can see how it can be disappointing to see somebody one way and them being completely different behind the scenes. I remember when I came across Kitty Rose. This actually got me. The fact that there's a Kitty Rose and a Kitty Rose, anyways. I came across Kitty Rose's Instagram for the first time. I think she's a very beautiful woman, but I wasn't really feeling her public persona. She appeared to be quiet, pro marriage, very pro women sticking by their cheating husband to save a marriage, etc. Like, she appears to be that kind of person. But that video where I think she was drunk, shook me a little bit.
That's what I'm telling you. Why? Wait, so y'all men really don't like getting y'all asses ate? No. Man, for what? Y'all better be glad I don't know. Oh, shit. Because I put these niggas after I be licking ass. I like for men to pee on me. Okay? In all true honesty, it's something about that stream hitting that.
I'm not judging. I'm just, giving my take. I think people who don't want to face the reality of who their influencers are behind the scenes are weak and childish, depending on the situation. And next, as much as I am proud of Kita for opening up about everything, I know that she took a huge risk in a very sexist society and in an even more sexist industry. Like I mentioned before, I don't think Ace Metaphor is going to face any form of accountability. If he faces any backlash, he will bounce back immediately. I think Kita will get some support from the public, but considering the industry she's in, I really think a lot of people will turn their backs on her, at least for a little while. Do I believe she'll miss out on opportunities and money? Maybe. I hope not. But she will probably be blessed in other areas. We just have to see what happens from here. You got to lose some to get some. That's what the people say. And I hope it's going to apply in this specific situation with Kiddo Rose. I really wish that she grows bigger and stronger from this. I would never think it was a bad idea for her to come out with her story. And whatever she decides to come out with moving forward, I will tune in just to show her some support. I'm very proud of people who step forward and talk about, like, share your stories. Like, to me, that's a form of bravery that should always be applauded and encouraged. And this marks the end of my video. Thank you so much for you all who made it to this part of the video. I am so grateful. If you all would please go ahead and like, subscribe, leave a comment just to let me know you stopped by. I'm very happy to have you all here, and I will catch you all in the next one.